Some micro friends, welcome back to the channel, always with Younes Charfaoui, and in the series about Room database for Android, we are going to see how we can integrate Hilt dependency injection framework to use it with Room database. Let's get started. So there is nothing special about Hilt and database like Hilt general dependency injection mechanism and or framework. So we are going to introduce it. Why we are going to introduce it is to delete some of the boilerplate code we written here and using this model factory and using it here also in the database. Let me check, or in the ViewModel here. Yeah, so that's the main idea. So first of all, we need some dependencies. So I just copied and pasted dependencies. So here is the main dependency for Dagger Hilt. We can use those for instrumentation tests and those for local tests. That's the first thing. We need the plugin. We will go here to this one and add it here. That's one thing, and we need also to add it back here in the top like that, and we can sync right now. So we will wait to the sync for this dependencies. You can get all the dependencies from the Dagger Hilt setup Gradle here. All right, so everything is posted here, like you can refer to that. I will put the link in the description below also. And now once we synced correctly with that, let's create the application for the Hilt. If you don't know how to use Hilt, you can follow along with this video, but I have created also a playlist specific to Hilt. All right, so you can refer to it. So here I'm going to create like my Word app application or Word app like the following. And I will annotate it using Hilt application, Hilt Android app. And this should extend, of course, the application. Sorry. Now, this is sufficient for most of the time. You can add like timber and everything here. And you must go here to the manifest and add your application with the Word app. That's the first step. And now let's introduce the modules. Like we need a module to handle or manage dependencies for the Room database. So let's create a DI package. Well, you can do that. DI. And here we will call it what? We will call it, for example, Room module. Now in this Room module, well, you can make it an object instead of a class, like that. And here what you have to do two things. You have to annotate it with the module, like the following, and you have to annotate it with the scope. So basically the lifecycle of the dependencies provided by this module. So you can do it install n, like the following. And we want this module of Room to be singleton. So what we do singleton component, like following, which be a class. And here we will try to provide our database. Now keep in mind that you can provide the database and you can also provide what? You can provide the DAO directly. So instead of passing the database to the repository, we will pass exactly the DAO. Now here what you can do at provide like the following, and you can create a function that provide that. And let's make it provide, or let's make it the Word database, and let's make it return Word database. Sorry, Word database, like the following. And here what we will do, we will exactly do what we have been doing here in the database. Like we will grab this logic to build the database. We will copy that and put it here. And what we need here is a context. Luckily for us, we can provide the context directly here using the annotation application context, which is a context with bigger scope. So context, sorry, not compiler, context, I mean. This will be provided by Hilt, exactly the application context module. That's it. When they are using here final class, as I said, you can use this object or you can use final class, no problem. Now here we are just providing this database. Now we can use this database in order to provide a DAO. What you can do, well, we can simply copy that and provide Word data access object like the following. And let's make the return type here Word DAO like the following. And here, instead of getting the context, we will get as an input, as a dependency to provide other dependency, what? We will get our Word database. And as you can see here, we can get this from this one. So basically you will have to say this one using this icon here. It means that this function is providing this dependencies to others. So if you click on it, it will go here. As you can see, we are providing it here. So what we will return using that Word order database in order to provide Word DAO. Now you may ask me why I didn't use it directly here and return the Word DAO. Well, you can do that, of course, no problem with that. Just provide the Word DAO, but sometimes you'll have to provide multiple DAOs for the same database. That's why it is like logical to have one database and multiple implementations of DAO. Now, where we want to use this DAO inside the repository, what we can do, well, simply we can provide the DAO directly into the Word repository, or we can create a module that provides the repository. It's up to you. Okay, I will choose the easiest one. Let me go back to the repository here, Word repository, and instead of getting the Word database, I will provide Well, first of all, I will have to do an inject. And in the constructor, of course, as you can see, we are providing this word repository. And here, what I will do word DAO. And using that word DAO, I can basically do that and that. Now, from where we are getting this DAO, we are getting it from here. As you can see, this one is providing to this one. Now, where we want to use that word repository, we want to use it inside the ViewModel. Now we can go to our ViewModel here. To use that ViewModel with the word repository in order to inject it here, we'll simply have to do like inject and constructor. Well, with Dagger, there is an extra setup to make the ViewModel working, but with Hilt, we have simply to annotate it with the Hilt ViewModel. Now this model is used here. Now this ViewModel is used here, so we have to make changes here also. So we won't be using any of that. We will simply do ViewModels, like following, and like the following. That way we can inject using Hilt a ViewModel here. But one simple change here is that we should annotate it with the Android entry point. So that way Hilt can insert things here into this activity. Now this is crucial, and also this is crucial. So to recap, the main request will come from this activity since it will need ViewModel. The ViewModel will require a repository, so it will check how to get the repository. It will get it from here. The repository will require a DAO, so it will get it from here. The DAO will require this word database, so it will get it from here. Okay, why I'm doing two returns here, I don't know. Let me just return. That's a problem. Well, we can delete that factory here. Let me just delete it. And here we can, well, delete this one and this one to keep our database as clean as possible with all the DAOs and everything. Okay, so we don't need here. So it is just abstract definition of the database. We hope it will work correctly because with Hilt, with dependency injection framework, you don't know what's going to happen. And now let's run it to see if everything is working correctly as expected. Here we go. As you can see, it is working. The app is launching at least. So we must see also if you are getting the data. So here, let me just do system. Like, I'm not sure. Let me just rerun it again. So I don't know if you have things here or not. So I'm going to insert thing here, go to the app inspection and see if you have some data or not. Okay, we have our words here, as you can see. Let me just add another thing. Run it. We must see this one. Exactly, it is working as expected. Don't know why we are not getting here this system thing. Let me check. Let me clear everything and just rerun the app again. We must see that here. Duration, OPN SSL, either we are not getting them, UI ID, or there is a problem with the database, system.out. I forget to print everything. Yeah, of course, it won't work. Now we must see them here. As you can see, everything is working as expected. So for dependency injection to work well, we had to run through many things, right? So first of all, we had to add our Hilt dependency injection framework using those dependencies. And from that, we have to annotate this our activity with this Android entry point. The main view model also need to be annotated with the Hilt view model, and simply we will start injecting. So Hilt will recognize that we need that word repository, so it will search for it, it will find it here, and then it will need that word DAO, so it will find it here, and from that it needs that word database, it will find it here. In the next video, we'll see how we can use another concept called clean architecture to optimize our application a little bit. There is not a lot of room for improvements here, but we'll add a layer called data source. It will represent data source for us, and then we'll try to use use cases instead of passing the whole repository to the view model, because the issue is that the view model has full access to the word repository. Imagine that word repository have multiple functions, not just this get all word and insert word. So we'll try to use use cases here in the view model so we can constrain changes. Here in this example, it's pretty simple, right? We are just using word repository to get all method. But sometimes you have to combine multiple repositories in order to achieve a requirement or a business thing. So this is pretty simple, but we will see how we can use that in the next video. So thanks a lot for watching this video to the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and see you in the next videos. Salam alaikum.